Hello, wrestling fans, and welcome to episode 135 of the We Can't Wrestle podcast. Nate Maxon, your host, here with you, along with Mr. Archie Mitchell.
What's up?
Aaron Maxon.
Hello.
And, David Gold is listening as he's on the road. He's listening to the show. You can't hear it yet, but he can. This week on the We Can't Wrestle podcast, we are going to review... And yes, folks, this was my fault. I thrust this event upon my counterparts because I saw on YouTube, I was like, oh shit, I've never seen this.
Yep.
The NWA World Title Tournament. I mean, I knew Chris Candido won the NWA title this night. I knew he beat Tracy Smothers in the finals. However, on November 19th, 1994, the NWA...
Whoa.
What?
Wait a minute. So this wasn't something you watched and then was like, oh, this will be good. Let's watch this. You just saw it. It's like,
oh,
hey,
shit, no. Yeah, we were all fucking lab rats together on this one.
Nate was like, if I had to sit through this hell, they're sitting through it too.
Bullshit. Yeah, watch something first, man.
This is definitely the NWA at one of its lowest points. Well, and I was also tricked into hearing all these good things about things that Dennis Coraluzza did over the years. And
you mean screw the NWA by talking badly about Shane Douglas before he was set to become their world heavyweight champion?
Possibly.
Okay.
But yes, we are reviewing. It is Cherry Hill, New Jersey, November 19th, 1994, the NWA World Title Tournament event. And before we get to that, though, I'm springing this question on my co-host, just like I sprung this event on them, because I was thinking about this earlier today as my wife and I were driving home from dinner. And some music was on the radio. And so we're all kind of from the same generation, you know.
Yes.
And the way I always look at, now, granted, yes, my musical tastes go from Johnny Cash to Tool to Snoop Dogg. Right. But I consider my generation's music, someone's generation's music, probably the music that was coming out when they were between the age of 14 and 22, you know, the high school years, your formidable years. Right. That's your formidable music. Would you guys agree with me on that? That's your generation. Yeah. Okay, and we're all mainly in the same generation, you know, the grunge generation, et cetera, et cetera.
Right.
So my question is, and I'll give my answer, but I kind of wanted to pose this question to you guys. I may put it in our group too. What group or musical artist from our musical generation, which for those of you that don't know is probably like 1993 to the year 2000. You know, Let's just say that. Archie, if you disagree, Aaron, if you disagree, but that's kind of mine. Those are my formidable years. Nirvana, Pearl Jam, et cetera, and then of course Dr. Dre and all that. But anyway, what group or musical artist that was around came around during our formidable years did you not really dig or were not into then? And as you've gotten older, you've gotten more into their music. Like you dig them now. You know what I mean? Mine is Trent Reznor, 9 Inch Nails. Like when that stuff first came out when I was in high school and stuff. Not that I didn't like it, but I was just like, this ain't for me, you know? And I didn't begrudge anybody that did like it. But as I've gotten older, I've come to appreciate that's what made me think of this, because I heard some 9 Inch Nails on the radio. I was like, I've really come to appreciate him later in life than I did back then. Well, I know I'm putting you on the spot, but
I'll let Aaron go first because I actually have a story behind mine that's going to take a minute. So go ahead, Aaron.
Mine would be the Smashing Pumpkins.
Okay.
I didn't like them when I was a kid, but the older I've gotten, I'm like, they're a pretty good band.
I like the Pumpkins.
Now, is that because of your love of the NWA as well, and Mr. Corgan now owns it?
No. I mean, I was even before that. Like, I think, like, I don't want to say it. I don't want to say they were, like, artistic, but I think they were more of a. I was a kid, so I didn't appreciate that. They're more. I don't. Does that make sense? Like,
their music is more at times more ethereal than a lot of the music from that time. And
Right.
let me tell you my story about the Pumpkins. I've been a Smashing Pumpkins fan for a long time. Aaron knows that. Kendall and I, before COVID, the second to last concert we went to, the last concert we went to before the pandemic was Tool, but the second to last concert we went to was the Smashing Pumpkins.
Wow, okay.
And they were on their 30th year anniversary tour, which means they did a 30-song set, okay?
Wow.
This was like a 3.5-hour concert. The problem I had with it was like Billy Corgan was like, yeah, we're going to do a 3.5-hour concert, but let's take every slow song we have and put it in the middle. So like in the middle of the concert, you're like, I want to go to sleep.
Oh, right.
Like, why did you put all the slow songs back to back in the middle of this 3-hour shindig? Yeah, it was like WrestleMania.
Oh, God.
God, this is long.
Well, the group, which I will say, their first song caught me and I was a fan. Nirvana.
Mm-hmm.
I liked Smells Like Teen Spirit. And then the next few songs they put out were just not for me. And then one night, it was like 5 a.m. I had woken up from my sleep, because another hour or two it was time to get ready for school and shit. I caught sight of the video where he has an older man get on a cross with a Santa Claus hat.
Yeah.
I think that's heart-shaped box. What is that?
It is.
The name
Heart-shaped, yes. Heart-shaped.
Yeah.
But, well, yeah, it's heart-shaped box. Yeah.
So I was half asleep and it scared the crap out of me. And I literally, in my sleepy state of mind, went, God damn it, I hope that, he blows his brains out. I swear to God, Nate, I said it. And the next day I was on the phone with my girlfriend, who's now my wife, Sarah. We've known each other that long. And I told her about it. And she said, oh, I love Nirvana. How could you do that? How could you say that about Kurt Cobain? I said, I don't care. And 2 days later,
Kurt Loder's like,
Kurt Cobain shot himself.
Little deep cut there for anybody that watched MTV back in the day. MTV News with Kurt Loder.
My girlfriend calls me and goes, you son of a bitch, you killed Kurt Cobain. I'm like, no, I didn't. She's like,
turns
no,
out,
did.
Sorry, Archie. Turns out Courtney Love did it, but
yeah, no.
And
she's like, you wished him death and he died. I'm like, and for the last, Nate, I don't want to lie, 20 years, that's been in me that I killed Kurt Cobain. and then I started to like the music, and now she tells me, like about a month ago, you're not allowed to bop your head to Nirvana or sing their song. You killed him.
You killed him. You bastard.
So
it's funny with me because I've gone in reverse with Nirvana. My personal favorite band in the world is Pearl Jam. Okay. But when I was in my teens, I thought Nirvana was my favorite band.
Right.
And as time has gone on, it's not that I dislike them, but I definitely, as time has gone on, became less enchanted with their music, I guess.
Understandable.
And it could honestly be just because of his death, they never got to build a huge body of work like Pearl Jam has.
Right.
And that's what I was going to tell you. You like Pearl Jam better because good musicians change with their audience. Because how you were saying, when you start getting popular, like the 14 or whatever age group is the people listening to your music, and if you continue to keep making the same music,
right,
the fan base you built isn't gonna go like I don't like the girls' music, but everybody that freaked out when Miley Cyrus went and just started changing and shit like that. So she's changing because the kids that watched her when she was on the Disney Channel aren't kids on the Disney Channel anymore.
Right.
They don't want to see her dancing around singing "Party in the USA."
Well,
it's no different than what Madonna did. Okay, which I don't like Madonna, but that's what I'm saying. I think you'd have and I'm not saying that Nirvana's a better band than Pearl Jam, but I don't think it's that they don't have a big body of work. I just think because if he would have shot himself, they would have just been doing grunge music in 2021.
Right.
They would have evolved.
That's something he always fought against. So I've listened to interviews with Kurt Cobain that he didn't want to have to change. So he might have stayed grunge. You never know. He might have been the only one who stayed true to his original work and didn't try to grow up.
That's why I always piss back at guys that diss Metallica.
Right.
Because Metallica, they're always like, there's like I saw a meme the other day. It was funny, but it showed James Hetfield at a metal detector, and it said no metal detected for 25 years or whatever.
1993, yeah.
Yeah, but okay, that's funny and everything. But like Aaron was saying, okay, and I'm going to use an example. Good musicians evolve as they get older.
Yes.
You know? And Metallica evolved as a band. I actually enjoy Loaded and Reloaded, and I enjoy the later albums. I think that as a band, they grew, they changed their music. The one I'll compare it to is I personally think past like maybe the late 90s, Aerosmith's pathetic. Their music never changed, and Steven Tyler's like 75 years old, and he's still out there in those. Well, and he's still out there in those spandex with his fucking Ultimate Warrior things on his arms, and I mean, he looks. It's pathetic. He's pathetic.
He looks like the mom from Sons of Anarchy.
He does. He does. Or that meme that says, "Look, it's the cool aunt that buys you booze." You know, because he's you know. But
you guys see what I'm saying, though? Yeah, like, I see Steven Tyler and Aerosmith now. I'm like, Jesus, they never evolved.
No.
They never evolved. They're the same band they were in 1976.
Right.
But they're still all fucking. But the only difference is they're fucking old and gross looking now, you know?
Right.
Anyway, no. I hope what I said made sense there.
No, I agree with you.
Well, now that we can get back to wrestling now here on the We Can't Wrestle podcast, but I just thought that was a cool, like, you know, I thought about it today and I was like, well, you're the first three other than my wife I'm going to talk to. So I'm going to ask you guys that question and see what you thought. So like I said at the beginning of the show, NWA Championship Tournament, Cherry Hill, New Jersey, November 19th, 1994. I have 2.5 pages of notes on this thing.
It's way too much notes.
I couldn't stop writing. I got writer's cramp. I couldn't stop writing. So we opened this show with the
1970s John Denver. I was like, is that 1970s John Denver as the ring announcer?
I was about to say the goofiest looking fucking ring announcer I've ever seen in my life.
Napoleon Dynamite. I was like, when did they get this? How did he get back in time? You know?
Dang, it's Eddie Gilbert. Jeez.
Yeah, it's just the minute I put it on, and I, like you said, the announcer looked funny and everything, and I'm like, damn, was this how bad '94 looked? You know what I mean? The people, the arena they were in. I know.
No, it was just this place.
It was right. It wasn't like, damn, I don't remember looking that bad in '94. You know.
The ring announcer introduces us to Tommy Fierro, Damian Kane, Dennis Whipwreck, who was the namesake for Mikey Whipwreck, Ron Scholar, and Dennis Coraluzzo. And I know, I always heard Dennis Coraluzzo did do some good things in the Northeast in the 90s as far as promoting wrestling. He kind of helped keep it alive. Him and but other than Heyman, but Coraluzzo and Joel Goodhart, you know, they both did good things for East Coast wrestling in the 90s. But after this, Coraluzzo talks about the fundraiser people, which I didn't obviously write any of those names down.
Yeah, this was just a massive circle jerk.
It was a long-winded speech that maybe he didn't need to give right then and there. He could have done it after the show.
And he's like, He just stopped short of going, and these are the mobsters that have helped fund tonight's event.
Right.
You know,
it's not the fact that they did it; it's the fact that they put it on the tape.
Right.
True. Yeah. He was even like, and don't forget Marco's Pizza or whatever, talking about
they got
over in the corner.
Domino's. Got Domino's.
And they deliver.
It's good shit.
30 minutes or less, or it's free.
Am I the only one who was bothered that through the whole tape it kept saying collaboration? And because it kept like in little letters that would come up.
Oh, the
collaboration.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, the video collaboration.
Yeah, I would go, who the fuck are they collaborating with? It's the NWA. You know what I mean? Who's collaborating here?
Marco's Pizza. That's who they're collaborating with. Were you listening?
We're gonna do a commercial for them after this is over.
I did not actually early in my notes here. It says, I don't know who these announcers are. I don't know their names. I didn't know their names until the end of the show.
Okay.
Because I didn't ever hear them say their names.
Right.
Tommy, Nori, and the Professor are our shitty announce team on this show, folks. These guys are fucking terrible.
Hold. I never heard them call him the Professor. I heard Tommy Nori.
Yeah,
What was he the professor of? Sucking? Because that was bad.
This was like
that was Tammy Sitch.
Just to show you how bad these announcers were. This show took place, folks, on November 19th, 1994. The announcers literally go, "We're watching the NWA Championship." The one guy, the Nori guy, the NWA Championship tournament from what was it? 11/18/94, and the Professor goes, "Sounds good." I was like, "This is terrible already." They haven't even got to a match. Sounds good. Yeah, whatever. This is real professional. It's like the guys that did the announcing didn't even work for the NWA because they shit on the show the whole time.
They filmed it, and then Dennis Corleone was like, just give me 2 guys that are hanging out at the pizzeria. Don't worry about it.
I know a guy, Tommy Nori. He works for Marco's Pizza. We'll have him do it. And his homeless friend, they call him the Professor. Yeah. All right.
These guys were assholes. Like,
well put.
I mean, it's like when Nate and I would sit down and like play our video games and make like stupid jokes while we were playing the games. That's what these guys were doing. And it's not wrong to sit there and make fun of something if it's bad, but if you're being paid to commentate, like I guarantee there's wrestlers on this show that if known that was going to be the commentary that was included on it, wouldn't even been involved.
Yes,
definitely.
If you're getting paid to put over the product, you put it over no matter how shitty it is.
Maybe
Jim Ross, Tony Schiavone. Jim Ross and Tony Schiavone right now.
Corey Graves.
Maybe they weren't being paid.
Corey Graves.
Well, no,
Michael Cole.
Hold on. Corey Graves this past Monday totally shit on one of the guys. I forgot who was cutting the promo, but I think it might have been Xavier Woods. And Corey Graves was like, Xavier Woods has been here 10 years. Is that the best he's got for a promo? And Michael Cole was like, well, Corey, he said what he felt. He's like, well, if that's what he feels, that was ridiculous. And I went, wow, Corey Graves totally went off script just now. So, I don't know about Corey Graves, but this was, like you mentioned, you guys playing the video game. My brother and I got an old tape of Japanese death matches in like 93, 94. It was Cactus Jack versus Terry Funk, but we watched the whole tournament, and we were doing our own commentary, and we were right on par with these 2 guys.
I bet you had fun with Mr. Pogo when you were doing your commentary.
We were going crazy on the guy Nama Nama Numi.
Yeah.
But they said that name about 17 times in 1 minute, and so we just every day, all day. Hey, Mom, what? It's Nama Nama Numi. Of course, my mother would get pissed. Like, go away.
I just remember when I got some of that stuff. One of the first things I thought was this Mr. Pogo, this fat fuck. What? Right. Jesus Christ. He was awful. All right, the first match of this tournament is Devin Storm against the late great, at this point, Tracy Smothers. The match wasn't bad. The commentary was terrible. The match wasn't bad in and of itself, Well,
it was a good match, and they did the classic indie thing of having the first guy go out and make sure that he's established as the bad guy.
Right.
And then they bring Tracy out. If they would have brought Tracy out first, it would have been a horrible mistake because here comes this guy with a rebel flag and he's in fucking New Jersey. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
In 1993, they would have come off as the heel. They would have booed him and cheered Devin Storm. So they had to make sure Devin Storm came out and said that he hated being in this dump hole of Cherry Hill.
And at this point, Devin was making his way up and down the East Coast, so he was established as a not a star, but an up and comer. So they might have cheered him. You're right about that.
Devin just keeps missing moonsaults in this match. Yeah, so I'm telling you, like this poor guy.
I wonder if that was the way they choreographed too. Like, all right, Tracy, we're gonna go out there and I'm gonna try to hit you with a moonsault. What do you mean try? Well, I'm never gonna actually connect.
That or Tracy just didn't want to take the moonsault.
Right.
And Tracy was like, "You ain't doing that to me, boy."
I ain't a young pistol anymore.
I don't know you, son.
Smothers goes over in this match, and up next, it is Johnny Gunn, who we recently talked about on Reliving the Extreme because in late 1993, Johnny Gunn won the ECW tag titles with Tommy Dreamer and then no-showed that shit. But yeah, thanks, Johnny. Thanks you sincerely, Johnny Gunn.
Yeah, didn't Shane Douglas take over as Johnny's replacement?
Yeah, we just
and then screw over Dreamer.
Yep, that was just actually last week's episode. Yeah.
Well, I mean, I will say this: as much as bad as it was for Johnny not showing up, it did start the Douglas Dreamer feud, which went on almost the entirety of ECW.
So what you're saying? What you're saying is inadvertently Johnny Gunn actually did something good in the wrestling business. Right. He didn't mean to do it.
He didn't mean to do it. He was just being an asshole. That's probably when the WWE signed him. And
I actually agreed with these announcers on this one because Johnny Gunn's got this manager thing with him, and the one announcer says, "Here comes Johnny Gunn," and whatever that is with him.
I put it's the American Mystery because they never say his name, so it's just Johnny Gunn with the American Mystery.
The American.
Why does Johnny Gunn have this outlandish manager?
I don't know.
He's supposed to be a good guy, and he has like this outlandish manager.
It was probably his bag guy. His guy drove him around.
Oh, don't bring him out there with you. Why you got this outlandish manager?
Folks, he's got this ridiculous it's an attempt at like an Apollo Creed type of outfit, I guess, like the Living in America outfit. But I don't think we ever even see the dude's face like the whole time. Like every time they get a shot of him, it's of his back. So I have no idea who he was, what he was, and the announcers
definitely no fucking purpose. No.
Well, there may have been a purpose, but they never explained it on the tape, so we don't know.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? We don't know who this guy was. Maybe if the announcers had some backstory or information, we might have been able to put two and two together. But as Aaron said, it was just an outlandish manager that came in out of nowhere and was never seen again through all of Johnny Gunn's career.
Maybe wouldn't have even seen him again on this night if Johnny Gunn won.
Right.
The commentators are dogging the ring announcer at this point. Like we're not even a half hour into this show and it's off the rails. I am a fan of Eddie Gilbert.
As am I.
But why did Eddie Gilbert do a Steers and Queers joke in Jersey? Like that's a joke you do in Texas.
Right.
That's how you get heat in Texas, not in Cherry Hill. You know what I mean?
The other part is like they make fun of the fact that Eddie comes out and his music doesn't start till he gets in the ring. They're like, "Oh, now his music hit."
Yes, they point that out. They love dogging their own product, apparently.
Yeah.
And they said that Eddie Gilbert, they say Eddie is freshly back from no showing in Puerto Rico.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. You catch that?
I didn't even catch that.
Yeah.
He's right.
They said, Eddie is freshly back from no showing in Puerto Rico.
That's actually really funny.
What I'm saying is what these guys are saying is funny. Like, they're funny because they're making fun, but it's like you don't do that.
They're almost like it's almost like they're Mystery Science Theater 3000 again.
Or they're like us. I mean? They're like us. They're just watching the show and reviewing it. Yeah.
Right. So it's possible the NWA never hired these guys. It's possible that just
they say they work for they're that company. They're the guys that run that what was it, Off the Top Rope Productions or whatever.
Right.
They're the guys that run this. Like they produced the video for
the NWA that may have never have known that was them doing commentary or
whatever. So then when Dennis got this thing, it was probably just like, well, here it is. And he already paid for it. He couldn't afford to go back and edit these guys out of it.
All he got to take home after this show was a copy of this tape and the leftover Marco's Pizza. Yep. So I wrote down my note here. The fight goes into the crowd but I can't see it.
Oh,
my
okay.
my
so
notes
what did you
are
just
from what
say?
I could tell, from what I could see, it was terrible. Like this was bad.
Mm-hmm.
And the crowd was looking around, not at Gilbert and Gunn, but like if another fight broke out between crowd members. I kept saying like, is something going on that I'm not aware of in this?
And the other
You know?
and this match started the trend of the guy operating the hard cam. Nobody explained to him what a fucking hard cam is.
Right.
He kept zooming and panning,
Mm-hmm.
and it's like that's not your job. Your job is to stand there and make sure that thing's still and doesn't get fucking knocked over. That is
Right.
your job, and
You're
stays in
making.
focus.
I'm
You're the
watching
hard
this.
cam.
I'm watching this. You're making me ill. You're
Right.
giving me motion sickness.
Right.
Yeah. Like when Paulie only had one camera, like when ECW was, if they only had the hard cam, they shot the entire fucking show at that angle. They didn't
Right.
zoom in, they didn't do all that shit because it's distracting and it's annoying. And that's why you have a hard cam, so you don't have to show people doing those things.
And that's why Paulie was genius,
Yep.
saying, okay, for this show, we only have the hard cam, but we can also have a fan cam.
Right.
So that, we talk about the genius of Paul Heyman on Reliving the Extreme all the time. You see it. The guy's a fucking genius. Anyway, I don't want to get off on a thing. People can say not a good guy, not good with money. Okay, let's not, but a fucking genius. All right. So I think Eddie Gilbert won this match with his feet on the ropes. It was shot so terribly and commentated so terribly, I don't know for sure. But Eddie Gilbert goes over Johnny Gunn, rightfully so. Mark Curtis makes his first appearance of the show, Mr. Brian Hildebrand. And our next match is a good match.
Yes.
Possibly the best match of the night. Chris Candido against Al Snow. My first note, at this time in her life, Tammy was all the way live.
Yeah, I put in my notes that this pre-Tammy is the hottest Tammy, and nobody can change my mind.
Oh no, I agree. Pre-WWE Tammy was definitely much better looking.
WWE Tammy was hot.
Oof.
Oh no, but
in the Smoking Guns get up, give me a break.
Oh yeah.
But I like this Tammy the most.
I'm gonna
bring Tamara Murphy, right?
Tamara Murphy Fitch. I think she was still Fitch.
Yeah.
I have it later on in my notes because she actually does a promo, but I want to bring it up now just because we're talking about her. Another thing about her, my favorite female promo in wrestling is Sherry. Obviously, Sherry, hands down.
Oh,
Sherry.
Definitely.
Sherry's it. Sherry's my favorite female performer, but in this gimmick and in the Body Donna's gimmick, with the way that she enunciated things and the way that she used her voice and knew how to use her voice, Tammy was also a fantastic underrated heel promo.
Oh yes,
like to get heat with the crowd and everything because she talked in that condescending, bitchy. I mean,
she had a
you can watch her and tell why Jim Cornette thought she was amazing.
Oh yeah,
because it's what a good fucking heel. Anyway.
And she was perfect with Chris.
Yes.
The fact that they moved her away from Chris made no sense in the WWF. They worked together perfectly well. I know he was a little bit short, but he had a great build. He was a goddamn great wrestler. Mm-hmm. And she was the perfect mouthpiece for him.
Well, Archie, it could have been because she was fucking Shawn Michaels.
Well, yes, but they didn't put her with Shawn Michaels. They put her with everybody else.
I was just being crude. I think it was Chris Candido was never made to be in the WWF. And I'm not dissing Chris Candido.
No,
I love Chris Candido. But Chris Candido, the minute he walked in the door of the WWF, the first thing Vince McMahon noticed about Chris Candido was Tammy.
And how small he was.
Just the same way. I mean, let's be honest, the same way it was with Mark Marrow and Sable. Yes. I mean, Vince said, I like that Tammy. She can bring that little Chris Candido with her too. And I mean, he was just, it's sad, but I mean, I think I'm right. He was never going to.
The difference in those two couples is Sable actually left Mark Marrow because she believed the hype Vince fed her.
Yeah.
Tammy and Chris stayed together until Chris passed away.
Mm-hmm.
So,
the other big difference between those two couples is that one of the couples, both of them were talented, and in
Right.
the other couple, neither one of them were any good.
Right. And now one of them is Mrs. Brock Lesnar.
You know, Jim Cornette calls her the female Ultimate Warrior.
Oh, big time.
Yeah.
Big time.
She got hired for her looks. She had no fucking talent. he does not ever. You will never hear Jim Cornette say a nice thing about Sable. But anyway, back to this deal. I know I got us off track. My other
Al and Chris worked great together.
Yes, other than this being the best match on the card, this is something that Archie probably didn't catch, but I know Aaron probably did. Aaron and I live 30 miles from Lima, Ohio, where Al Snow is from.
Right.
Anybody that's not from here mispronounces it. It makes me mad.
Me too. The ring announcer said from Lima, Ohio, and we hate that around here. It's Lima in Peru. In the United States, it is Lima.
Lima, right?
So yeah, but yeah, that's all I had down on here was that, and then it was the best match of the night. You guys have anything else on this one?
Chris and Al complemented each other perfectly. When Chris tried to take it to the air, Al was cutting Chris off, and vice versa. I saw both of these guys truly trade shot for shot, or defensive, takeover. It was a perfectly well thought out match, and I don't know why the whole tournament wasn't booked like this. You know what I mean? I understand only one person could shine, but you could see right out of the gate, Chris Candido was the right choice to become NWA champion at this time.
Yes. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. The next match is Jerry the King Lawler against the Dirty White Boy Tony Anthony. Two guys I'm a big fan of. Lawler's one of my favorites of all time. Dirty White Boy totally underrated.
And Jerry Lawler's coming out, and the commentator says, "Speaking of taking a dump, here's Jerry Lawler."
Yeah, like these guys had a vendetta to sell.
And then they talked about the people shitting in King's Crown in the WWF. Like, and why are you talking about that?
They also said he made a joke about some girl in the crowd, and the announcer said this girl's too young for Lawler. Or too old for Lawler. I mean, is what he said. She's too old for Lawler.
Yeah, they picked on that blonde girl a lot. They ended up calling her the doorknob.
Mm-hmm.
They're like, "Oh, doorknob's involved again," because everybody gets a turn. These guys are horrible.
Yeah, they're bad.
But I wish we knew. I wish I knew where they were at though, so we could bring them on the show. They're fucking funny.
At least the professor.
I'm on it. I'm gonna find this Tom Norrie guy, and then he can tell us who the fucking professor was.
Because it won't Mike today. Not at this point.
No, you never heard of Huracan Rana or La Magistra Cradle? That wasn't called tonight.
This was your standard Jerry Lawler indie match, but it doesn't matter because no matter what he's doing, no matter how little he's doing, or no matter how much he's doing, Jerry Lawler's a fucking heat machine. He's a professional. He is one of the greatest of all time. And even in this, Jerry Lawler can do nothing and he's doing something. You know what I mean? Like, he doesn't have to do anything.
Yeah, and that's I put that as one of my notes is Jerry Lawler, hands down, is probably the most paid guy on this show. Like, I guarantee he makes even more than Jim Cornette, who comes out, who they call the Big Banana.
Yeah.
By the way, because he's wearing his yellow suit. Here's the Big Banana, Jim Cornette. But I know you guys said that the Lawler or the Al Snow Candido match was the best match on the show. This was the entertaining thing this was like the most entertaining thing on the show.
I agree. Both guys definitely played their parts and did whatever they could to get the crowd up and cheering and But what I didn't like was the ending. I couldn't get over that, which I had no problem with Chris getting a bye in the next round, but I think there could have. I mean, why couldn't Tony Anthony go over? Was Lawler not looking to put somebody over, or what was?
Well, he did. He won by DQ. He won by DQ.
No, but in the next round, it says double disqualification.
No, he won by DQ because he goes on because his knee's fucked up.
Oh, okay.
Remember?
I could have
Yeah,
sworn
yeah.
I heard boat announcers say
No,
double
because
disqualification and the match was thrown out.
Anthony goes into the next round to fight Candido.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, this
I
thing.
got it.
The problem with the match was that it was 5 to 7 minutes too long. That's the only critique I have of it.
Well, it seemed like they gave everybody time in the first round. I guess because they figured they had such a decent crowd there, they had to give them a wrestling show. You know what I mean? But I agree with you. It was definitely 5 minutes too long.
And I understand what you're saying, but it's like if all you're gonna do is a stall and brawl, which is fine because Jerry Lawler is not gonna go to fucking Cherry Hill, New Jersey, in a goddamn swamp ass smelling warehouse. I guarantee that place smelled like wet ass. There's no way. Because if you notice at the beginning of it, fucking bay doors closed, and as the show progressively goes on, that bay door keeps going up and up and up. Because I guarantee every single wrestler went to the back and said, "It smells like wet ass out there, wet fucking ass."
Well, you've never been to Cherry Hill before. It smells like wet ass there all the time.
Well, that's what I'm saying. So, like I said, I think it was these guys, and the funny part is they probably all drove there together.
Well, I mean, Lawler was probably there because of Cornette, because Cornette was friends with Coraluzzo.
Well, yeah.
So
and Smoky Mountain fucking supplied half the fucking talent on this fucking show, and they even had their banner up. And like I said, this is all of these people are Smoky Mountain. I mean, Lawler went there eventually because they had the USWA feud. But if Lawler didn't fly in, they didn't fly Lawler in. I guarantee at least Jim Cornette, Dirty White Boy, and Mark Curtis drove there together. Cornette doesn't fly.
Yeah.
So yeah.
The match was I know. Okay, the match was a little too long. I actually wrote down the after match was better than the match itself, with the angle going on afterwards. Dirty White Boy wins by disqualification. And then there's a beatdown. Al Snow comes out and helps Dirty White Boy.
I'd have to look at my timing, but I think this might even been during the Smoky Mountain USWA feud, and this was probably something that Cornette got to use for his own show.
With his own commentary and stuff over it, yeah.
Right, hopefully. The professor probably...
Cornette wouldn't have had that commentary on.
Yeah, no.
He'd have been like, what the fuck is this?
We gotta go back to Cherry Hill. I got some fucking dudes I need to hit with my car.
And he did some guys with my car. I say you banana suit, you motherfucker. I can see Cornette now. So the next match is something. It happened.
It's something.
Yeah, I wrote down. Well, this match happened. It's a guy named Lou Perez, who I've never heard of, against Osama Nishimura from Japan. And as the Japanese guy's coming out, one of these commentators goes, "Is this the Japanese guy?"
Wow.
Yeah, I don't know if you caught that or not, but
he ain't got no shoes. So let's point that out to you. He ain't got no shoes. Can you imagine Nishimura? They're like, "Nishimura-san, yes, we're finally gonna send you to America." Ah, yes, I get to go to America. Oh, where am I going? We're gonna send you to Cherry Hill to wrestle in a wet ass smelling warehouse with Al Perez's fake cousin. It's gonna be amazing.
But it's under the NWA banner. Oh.
Yeah. You got there. There's like,
that's where I thought Aaron was going. We're sending you to America. Oh, finally go to America. You're going to be in an NWA championship tournament.
Yes.
Championship tournament. It's going to be in Cherry Hill, New Jersey. Cherry Hill. We have cherry blossom in Japan. Very nice.
Yes,
Very nice.
yes.
Yeah. And they just building it up, and then he
Then he
shows
gets
up.
there.
He shows up, and it's like you have to go. Okay, now go down. I don't know the roads, obviously, but go down
Parkway.
Smith Street.
Turnpike.
Take the turnpike. Go down Smith Street. Now, what you want to do is you want to go left into an alley.
When it starts to smell,
Yeah.
when it starts to smell like wet ass, you know you've reached your destination.
When you get to the point where you pass the dumpsters, there's no change in the smell. You're almost there. You're almost there, boy son. You're almost there.
You'll see the professor in the parking lot. He'll wave you in.
Yeah. I don't know who Professor is. Nobody knows who the Professor is.
He'll know you. Don't worry. Now we maybe shouldn't be doing the Japanese accent. Little bit of current news. Willie Urbina from AEW, their Spanish announce team, got caught making fun of Shida, their women's champion. When they went to commercial break, his mic was still on, and he was making fun of her accent. And they fired him this morning because he was being insensitive.
Remember when wrestling was wrestling?
No, I do.
you know what I'm saying?
No,
like, Jesus.
He was being very insensitive in the things he was saying. He wasn't just making a Japanese accent.
Oh, okay.
He was saying a lot of ugly things about her.
Oh, well, no, that's not cool.
And,
then.
Because it was obviously it was in Spanish, but with a Japanese accent, they looked into what he said was really bad. So,
well, fuck him then. you know, I mean, if it, what we just did there wasn't racist. If he was being racist, fuck him. He deserves to be fired. Yeah.
Yeah. No, he wasn't being racist. His exact words were, he was saying things like, "Oh, only us Japanese girls on OnlyFans. You could see us naked," and it would just kept snowballing. And there was another woman on the Spanish announce team making the same joke with him, but she didn't get fired. So I don't know why, but.
Accidental live mic things always strike me because I'm like, you have a microphone on. Why would you even
walk away?
Why would you even remotely say anything that could, especially in today's world? Like you listen to some of those old outtakes from Monday Night Raw back in '96 and stuff when people weren't so fucking sensitive. That doesn't matter. Right. But nowadays, why would you even take the risk?
Well, they caught Jim Ross saying, when Anna Jay first debuted in AEW, they caught him during the commercial break saying, "I'll tell you that Anna Jay is pretty good looking. I wouldn't mind the night alone with her." And the whole world freaked out.
Well,
I'm thinking she's 22. He's 60, but it's not like he said it about a 17-year-old. You know what I mean? He wasn't being.
Oh, and let's be honest. There is Jim Ross watching AEW. Is Gordon Soley at the worldwide tapings in 1994. Jim Ross is fucking bloated the whole... There's no way he watches that shit sober. No. If he watched that shit sober, he would not watch it any. You know what I mean? Like, there's no way Jim Ross is sober.
He wouldn't say the things he said. That man is too professional to say some of the stuff he's ever said. He really shits on their product while he's commentating. So
yeah, because it's awful. I mean? Anyway, we'll get to that.
We kind of like the professor.
I like the professor, right? The professor was Jim Ross all this time.
The Nishimura hits it. The one thing I will say about this match, I didn't care for the match. He said he hits a sick power bomb on this Perez dude, though. Like I was like, oh fuck! Right. And then they have a time limit draw. But here's the rub, folks. This was the 5th match.
Right.
Who were they going to wrestle?
Right.
Exactly. There is no... They had a time limit draw in a tournament for a match that if there was a winner, we wouldn't know...
Was there going to be a triple threat match in the finals?
I don't know. Like
Nori guy even brings it up. Like he was like the professor's like there's a time limit draw, and that Nori guy's like, well, who are they going to fight in the next round if... They won anyway. And then the guy was like, well, I think they were going to be an alternate or something. And he was like, oh, that still doesn't make any sense.
Right. Can you imagine? What was his Perez? What was his first name again? I forgot. Luke? Lou. And your winner and new NWA champion, Lou Perez.
Lou the Lip Perez.
And his manager... The professor.
The professor revealed himself. He came out from behind the microphone.
It was me, Carluzzo.
It was me all along. Oh, I saw a really funny meme today. It said, it said at the top of it, it was like just like a black screen or a black thing. Or no, it wasn't black. It had a picture of Tony Khan, okay?
Right.
And it says, "Who is this Nick Khan?" And then it shows the thing of Vince, like it was me. Like there is no Nick Khan. It's just Vince McMahon. But that guy, Aaron.
What?
Aaron's been on the show since the very beginning. Did I or did I not in 2017 say the WWE was getting themselves ready to be sold? I've been saying that for like 4 to 5 years, and they are making moves right now. I'm telling you guys, Vince McMahon is selling that company. He's probably selling it to NBC, and that's why that Nick Khan guy is there. And we keep getting off topic. I'm sorry.
It's okay.
Up next,
for a show like this, we can get off topic.
up next, terrible match. Don't know who either of these guys are. The Inferno Kid against Mr. Motion.
See, I didn't even know the guy's name was the Inferno Kid. I never even heard him say it.
Right.
I just wrote Tony Rumble's guy versus Mr. Motion. What the fuck is going on? That is the only notes I have for that match.
Yeah, it was bad.
I left the room.
I fast
made
forwarded.
a sandwich.
Yeah, I fast forwarded. It was only like 3 minutes, but it was 3 minutes of my life I got to keep.
So, and that's what I didn't get. That wasn't a tournament match. That was just an extra throw-in.
Yep.
So,
Yeah, and that's the other part about this. Oh, sorry. At the beginning of this match, they go, and at the beginning of this match is actually when Tony Nori or whatever brought up the fact that the time limit draw thing happened, because this match happens, and he thinks it's the next match in the tournament.
Right. That's what I'm saying. It made no sense. I've heard of shows having non-tournament matches on them, but not when you only have six actual matches. You know, it made no sense. And it still would have led to a triple threat match in the finals, which didn't generally happen in the NWA. So I don't think they were leading towards that. You know,
the next match is this is another one of the times where these terrible commentators made me laugh, actually, because this is a WWF challenge match at this show. We got Scotty Flamingo. I think he wrestles at this show as Scotty Flamingo, not Johnny Polo.
They introduced him as Scotty Flamingo, also known as Johnny Polo.
And then he's wrestling Doink. And they say, it's not Doink Born, it's not Doink Apollo. And then when the bell rings, that one guy cracked me up. Because he goes, Scotty Flamingo here against Doink the 18th. I fucking lost it. I was like, that's actually really funny. Yep. Doink the 18th.
This Doink was actually the most in shape Doink I've ever seen.
And he had a cute little
afro. Yeah, Jufro Doink. But yeah, this Doink was like in shape. Usually like Doink is kind of chunky, you know. Like Matt Bourne wasn't a muscle guy. Yeah. Steve Lambardi wasn't a muscle guy.
Right.
Ray Apollo wasn't a muscle guy. And the funny part is I just said those three guys' names. And Doink was always on a very talented wrestler.
Right.
Yeah.
In the WWF at least.
Yeah. It's like we have Doink Bourne, Doink Apollo. This here tonight, ladies and gentlemen, Doink Warlord taking on Scotty Flamingo.
Brooklyn Doink.
What? Brooklyn Doink?
Brooklyn Doink. Fuck off.
Chad Austin's buddy Doink. Yeah. Chad Austin's buddy Doink. One of Chad Austin's buddies has a Doink suit that he takes and wrestles as himself and then as Doink. Or did. All right, this match was quick. Who won? Scotty won, didn't he? I don't even have the finish written down. I just put it was quick and painless.
Scotty won. And I think this might actually be one of the last times he was Scotty Flamingo.
Right, because in about a year and a half, he becomes Raven.
He goes, let me see, this is November. I think he shows up in ECW in April of 95?
Yeah.
I thought it was a little earlier. I thought it was earlier than that.
It might have been. It might have been. I could be wrong. But it's definitely early 95.
But it's about a year from this, 8, 9 months. because he had to get the Raven look down. He didn't look nothing like Raven at this point.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
The next match on the show, second round tournament action that once again I can't really see. It's Tracy Smothers against Eddie Gilbert. And boy, I wrote down here, boy, oh boy, would I have loved to have seen this match, because it sounds great. I'm going to watch Eddie Gilbert and Tracy Smothers, but I don't get to really watch it because most of the match takes place outside the ring and outside the purview of the camera.
Yeah, Eddie wanted to fight all over the arena that night.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't want to be in the ring at all. I don't know why.
Well, let's be honest. At this time, he wasn't. First of all, he wasn't in a good place in his life.
No, he was not.
Just this was he was at the point of spiraling out of control at this point.
Right, I know that. You can tell just with the way he got in the ring.
But I know I can see what you're saying too, Archie. Like you're right. He essentially wanted to do Puerto Rico and Cherry Hill.
Right.
Is what he wanted to do. Without
this is November and he's dead in February.
Right.
Mm-hmm. He wanted to do Puerto Rico and Cherry Hill without enough cameras, essentially.
Right.
And then I wrote down, I think it's because the camera was out of focus. I put this match had an unclear finish, literally. Like I know Tracy went over, but I didn't actually really even pick up on how it happened.
I'm going to say something here, and maybe I'm wrong, but I have to say it. There are people who say Shane Douglas killed the NWA when he threw down the belt and hoisted up the ECW title, which is one of my favorite moments ever. The NWA didn't do themselves any favor after this with the show like this, and they had Candido as their champion, but then also at the same time, I believe Dan Severn had an NWA title too. Yeah.
Well, no, definitely, Archie. You're right.
If
Shane Douglas killed the NWO, if Shane Douglas killed the NWA, these guys fucked the corpse.
Oh yeah.
I mean, there's it's not good. Like it's funny watching this show, and that's the reason why I wanted to watch it. Unseen. Right. It was like, oh, that's cool. You don't get to see a lot of these 90s NWA things in their full form. And I saw that video and I was like, this will be awesome. And then I realized that since I didn't see a lot of it, I just saw it in magazines and stuff.
Right.
I had a much fonder memory of this version of the NWA than it actually was.
Who among us didn't turn through the pages of PWI and go, oh shit, Chris Candido's the NWA champion. How'd he do it? And then we read about the tournament, was like, oh, that was a pretty damn good tournament with star-studded. They had great talent on that show.
Maybe 25 years ago, I'll get together with my buddies and review it on a podcast, and we'll just gush over this thing.
Right, and then
lo and behold,
yeah. It wasn't terrible. We've obviously watched worse shows.
I've been to indie shows and armories that were better than this.
Yeah, this might be the worst show we've ever had to sit through and watch.
Production wise, yes. Commentary,
everything.
Well, no, there was
the tournaments look like shit. The building looks like shit. The cameras are shit. The commentators are shit. The ring announcer's a fucking piece of shit. Everything about this show was terrible.
I'm wondering if, Douglas throws down the title in December, right?
Mm-hmm.
August, yes.
Mm-hmm.
And then for that couple of months in between before this tournament, if they didn't scramble, what are we gonna do? 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 And then somebody just look, just do a damn tournament. However it goes over, put a title on somebody, and then we'll move on from there once we have a champion.
Right, and the smartest guy in the room got shouted down because the smartest guy in the room was listen. He was watching this tournament happen. Right, there's some guy. There's always a smart guy in the room, but he always gets shouted down. There was a, there was a guy amongst this cackle of fucks. All right, that was watching the show. Hold on, I'm cracking myself up here, and he's going, "All right, we got a champ. We did a tournament, but let's just make sure nobody other than the people in Cherry Hill ever see it."
Yeah,
Right.
like give me
Right.
give me that tape. Give me that
Right.
tape.
Give me that tape.
Or he was probably like, look, we tried.
We got a damn good
We
champion out of it.
failed.
We move on. Right.
We tried. We failed. Smashed the tape, and we're gonna do something else.
You
Like,
can
this
say
never,
this
never happened.
You can even
This
still
never
say Chris
happened.
Candido won a tournament and became the NWA
Right.
champion.
If we can give
That's
Pat
fine.
Patterson the Intercontinental title, why can't Chris Candido be the NWA champion?
Like we need to pretend like this never happened. We're gonna pay the fans to say I wasn't there. Like,
Hush money. It's funny.
give them all a pizza and be like, look, you were never here.
Right.
I was never here.
Exit through the bay door.
Yeah.
But it smells over there.
Smells worse than here, buddy.
No,
It smells like the inside of a gym sock. Jesus, get out of here.
God, it's terrible.
All right, the next match is Chris Candido. Chris Candido against the Dirty White Boy, Tony Anthony. Pretty basic match here.
Well, they
Nothing
didn't
to
do
write
it.
home about.
It was what it was because they were selling the knee thing. So it's not like
Yeah.
they were going to go out there and have a knockdown, drag out match, which they were very capable of doing.
Absolutely. Candido wins this one with the pull of the tights.
Which
The next match. Yeah. The next match.
This is where I got mad.
All right. Well, I'll let you roll then. We got Rock and Roll Express versus the Gangstas at Smoky Mountain Tag Team Championship.
This is when I got mad.
Which on paper sounds like a fantastic match.
Oh,
Not
and
even
the
gonna lie.
match was good. But this is when I got mad because the commentators started just talking like Uber's amount of shit about the Rock and Roll Express. Like, they called them grandpas. They said they had been a tag team since the 1950s. How do I, like, they hadn't attacked the talent really until this, and I don't know why they were like, oh, let's just start making fun of the Rock and Roll Express. I don't understand.
Yeah,
I mean, I know they were, you know what I'm saying? I know they made jokes and stuff, but they didn't like attack the talent.
Well,
Because at least they were smart enough to not do that.
They were
But now they're-
begrudgingly saying things that they shouldn't have been saying. No commentator should be, shitting on the talent. Because if they want to have the Rock and Roll Express back there one day, for whatever show the NWA is going to do, you don't shit on the Rock and Roll Express, But I don't know. I don't know who gave these guys notes and told them to say these things. Still there?
Yeah.
There we go.
But yeah, you're absolutely right. And I guess when I was watching this show, I watched it in two different ways because at one point I was watching it on my laptop, and then I was watching it on my TV. Like I
Miracasted it to my TV as well.
I casted it to my TV from my phone. And to be honest, Aaron, I didn't catch a lot of that because when I was watching it on my TV, the audio is so bad.
Horrible.
I couldn't really hear them that well. Like when I would be on my laptop, I could hear them better. But when I was casting on my TV, I didn't hear it that well. So I didn't even catch that.
I had my TV full blast, and I heard what Aaron is saying, but it was it was bad audio. It's just bad. But
I have a nice TV, so I can hear it.
Well, la-di-da for you. You work at Walmart. Of course you have a nice TV.
La-di-da for you.
But no, and like I said, the match was fine, and it's also anytime I see these guys wrestle, it reminds me of when New Jack, when anybody would talk to him about like the hardcore stuff and everything, he's like, "Look, I earned the right to be able to do that because I learned how to do all that drop down, grab a head, step
Right.
over flippy bullshit with rock and roll. You know what I mean? Like he's
Right.
like, I earned that shit.
He
Like,
was.
New Jack knew how to wrestle. You know.
It's like Cornette said in his tribute to. Yeah, it's essentially what Cornette said in his tribute to New Jack. He said, a lot of people say stuff about, New Jack did this but at the end of the day, the reason New Jack was different than all those other quote unquote hardcore deathmatch guys, or different than a lot of them, was that he was a really good worker and then evolved into it. He found his niche. It's just like Mick Foley. Mick Foley, he was a great worker, but he found his niche in being hardcore.
And Tommy Dreamer, I listened to Tommy Dreamer for an hour talk about New Jack, because Tommy Dreamer and New Jack were tight and loved each other. And he said that he doesn't like to talk about like the secrets of how they do things,
Mm-hmm.
But he starts talking about the staple gun, because he said that he brought Jack into like a House of Hardcore thing, and they were going to do a deal, and Jack would always check the staple gun. He'd shoot it, hit it up against the wall, make sure there's nothing in there. And he said he was doing this, and he went to like show the guy, hey, and then I'm going to staple you. And the guy was like, really? And he goes, yeah, nothing happens. And he did it, and there was like one in the chamber.
Oh, God.
And the guy was like, fuck, and all this shit. And New Jack was like, oh, man, you're selling it so good. It's like, I'm not selling it. You stapled my arm. And New Jack was like, I've never done that before in my life. I'm so sorry. And he's like, they were all laughing because, it's like, I've been stapling people for 25 years and I've never done it. And the first time I actually stapled somebody, it was like in the back, showing somebody, oh, it doesn't even hurt. And he said, and that's what New Jack was talking to him about, was talking about how all these guys are stupid. He's like, Tommy, we work the world, man. They thought we were doing all this shit to each other and we weren't doing nothing. And he was like, Tommy was like, I never like to explain like how the sausages are made or whatever. But you know what he would do? Like, like when he'd hit the staple gun and there'd be like the dollar would be stuck on the guy or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
He always had gum in his mouth, and he'd put the gum in the guy's hair, and then he'd hit just with like an empty staple gun. And then he just like basically gum the money to the guy's head.
Wow.
Because if you're a wrestler, would you rather have to get some gum out of your hair,
or have to get a staple out of your
or dig a staple out of your fucking head? And right. Jack's like, we work the world, man, and now these guys are like stapling each other in the dicks and shit.
Right.
Like, what the fuck?
And there's your difference, folks. There's your difference. Right there.
Sleight of hand works very well, as opposed to, I'm going to go through these light tubes and try not to die.
Yes, absolutely. And yeah, I mean, there's a lot to be said for that. We talked about New Jack's passing on the Reliving the Extreme show. We didn't really address it here, but I mentioned on there one of the great promos of all time.
Without a doubt. Whether it was Smoky Mountain or ECW, New Jack knew how to deliver a promo and get the crowd to go, oof.
Yeah.
And then when he turned face and he was delivering promos, they were behind him the whole way.
Yes. And can I say this, just to talk about New Jack a little bit? We'll get into New Jack here. Aaron got me thinking about, man, I don't know if there is anybody. You don't really see a lot of new shoot interviews come out. And I think that's because, first of all, most of the guys that were doing those shoot interviews back then, the money marks that were just paying those wrestlers to ask them questions like, hey, remember when you wrestled the Eliminators? Stupid, not probing questions, just
Chris Farley.
Bunch of yes, that's perfect. That's a perfect analogy.
Remember when you were the Beatles?
Hey,
that was cool.
Hey, you remember when you died?
That's a perfect analogy, Archie.
Remember when you died? I love that. Remember when you died? That was a hoax, right?
But yeah, that's those. But I think you don't see shoot interviews now because Now you've got things like Dark Side of the Ring and stuff that really
Right.
get in depth into
Or-
the business.
And everybody's got a. I'm not saying it like like some
Yeah,
people are, but
podcast,
everybody's got a podcast. Why are they going to
Well-
go on somebody else's shit and tell their story when they can tell their
True.
story on their
Some mar-
podcast?
Some
But
mark in a
also-
hotel room.
But
Yeah.
also, though, with a shoot interview, it would be much different than it was a few years ago, because now guys have a lot of axes to grind against each other. You know, if I say it on my podcast and I say something bad about somebody, they're going to come to me directly. But like, if Ric Flair were to shoot on Shane Douglas the way he did like 6-7 years ago and say, well, Shane Douglas works at Walmart now, Shane Douglas would first go after the guy who did the shoot interview and then after Ric Flair.
Yeah.
And then the other thing is too, a lot of the guys have already done multiple shoot interviews. Okay.
Right.
And it's like kind of like what Cornette talks about now. Now the guys that you'd want to do a shoot interview with, like, oh, this guy just left the WWF or the WWE, let's do a shoot interview with him. He has no fucking stories.
Yeah, no cool stories.
Because they just they work and then they go back to their hotel and they fucking play up
Video
down
games.
down challenge with fucking Xavier Woods.
Yep.
I don't want to hear about fucking playing video games with Xavier Woods.
Oh, and don't forget about their meal prep, because all of them are on meal prep.
None of them are allowed to do anything because there's fucking cameras all over. The last cowboy, and people are going to tell me I'm stupid or crazy or whatever, but the last cowboy was John Cena.
Yep.
He was the last one.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yep. That's
He
why
was the last one that you hear any of the old guys saying, that dude would go to the fucking bar with me and beer to beer me the entire time and fucking sing karaoke and take the bet to pick the fattest girl up and take her home. You know, like shit like that. Like John Cena's the last.
Yeah. But what I was saying was New Jack, not only one of my favorite promos ever, he might be my favorite shoots to watch. My two favorite shoot interview guys to watch are New Jack and Raven.
Mine's Honky Tonk Man.
I love Honky Tonk Man too, but New Jack because it's entertaining and Raven because of his mind.
Story. New Jack tells you a story. Like, see, that's why I like Cornette too. You get glued to the screen and you want to watch for 45 minutes to an hour them tell you this story. Even though they go in a roundabout way, like we do. They get off the tracks, they go and they, Raven, though, gives you such a genius answer.
Yeah, that's
You know what I mean?
and that's what I was saying. That's why Scott Levy, I like to watch his shoot interviews because of his mind. Like, if it wasn't for his demons and stuff and his not wanting to, he was
a company.
Well, and him not wanting to play politics, which I respect, I guess.
Right.
He could have been right up there with Heyman and shit as one of the great creative minds. In the business. He's so smart. Like even the shoot interviews where he appears to be fucked up, you can just watch him talk about wrestling and know that it is through and through. He is a pro wrestling guy. He understands the business. Like Aaron and I have talked about before. I never realized it till Scott Levy said it. There's only 7 stories in pro wrestling.
Right.
There's only 7 stories.
And 3 of them intertwine.
Yeah, it's just a matter of how you tell them. It's just a matter of the players and how you tell the story. But there's only 7 stories.
Exactly.
Except now when it's sports entertainment and there's zombies. But
right. Or big giants who don't do anything but sit on the corner. The
Rock and Roll go over in this match that we didn't discuss by disqualification. And we have the main event now. Chris Candido, Tracy Smothers for the vacant NWA Championship. It was a good match. This is where I wrote down the Tammy promo. I love her promos. I love her voice. And like I said, she was all the way live on this night and for most of the early 90s. There's a guy. Did you guys notice the guy that was trying to start a Candido sucks chant, but he had no rhythm? So nobody picked up on it. He was like, Candido sucks. Candido sucks. Yeah, I was like, this guy's trying to start a chant, but he has no rhythm, so nobody's chanting with him. Like he sucks. That guy sucks. Whoever that guy was, he sucks. This match was good. It was a good match to end a shitty show.
It was. Chris and Tracy, when they were out there, put on a great show the whole way. You know, they didn't let their surroundings or the crowd get to them in any way. Like you might see a wrestler, like, you know, just blow it up. Like, the hell with it. I can give a shitty performance and no one's going to care. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Same with Tony Anthony. Same with Jerry Lawler. And God rest his soul, Eddie Gilbert tried his best, as you guys said. But he just, like you mentioned, Nate, wanted to do Puerto Rico or an ECW style match in the middle of Cherry Hill, New Jersey for the NWA title.
Without the proper cameras, I'm just saying.
Without the proper, if they had 2 more cameras, it would have been much better. But this ending the show was so much better than anything else they could have put together, because seeing Chris Candido and knowing how hard he worked on the indies to get to this point, it was a great feel-good moment. Although he was a heel, it still made me feel like this is what should have happened. Mm-hmm. You know, but I do find it ironic, and maybe I'm noticing that it doesn't happen for a few more years. Douglas got the title, threw it down. The next champion is Chris Candido. 2 triple threat members. Mm-hmm. Because later on in time, Candido and Douglas are in the triple threat together. So I wonder if Douglas is like, so you actually held the NWA title? And Candido was like, yeah, why? What'd you do? Throw it down? You know?
Why would you get something like that and just throw it away?
Right. What are you, an idiot?
Because of Dick Flair. Overall, the show is bad.
Yeah, I'm
just saying, the show was bad. They did one of them, either Nori or the Professor, when Candido put Tammy up on his shoulder, started doing the Macho Man impression. Did you catch that?
Yeah.
Not a very well thought out Macho Man impression, but
no.
It was passable.
It was more like the Nacho Man.
Right.
Thinking, yeah. So let's give our final thoughts here, guys. I mean, I just said it. It was bad, and we've said it was bad. I'm just trying to elaborate a little more here at the end for a little more.
If this was what they had to deal with, and they didn't have any more time, okay, fine. But if they could have stalled for maybe another couple months and gotten to the new year, and maybe gotten a bigger arena and better cameras and better commentators, you know,
better everything.
But I mean, they could have still done it in New Jersey, but there's plenty of other arenas better than where they were. You know, but it is what it is. Candido held the title. He did represent the NWA proudly. And you know, in my opinion, though, it was crap. The show itself was crap.
Aaron?
This is the worst thing we've ever had to watch. I mean, I'm imploring our listeners, do not do what we ask you to do a lot. And find the link, watch it, watch along with us. No, you'll enjoy it. It's so much better to watch it along with us. Don't watch the show.
Right, unless you're drunk and want to laugh.
I almost flagged it on YouTube. It's offensive.
Oh, that's funny.
So before we do our sign off, just to give everybody a perspective who maybe is younger or wasn't a wrestling fan in the 90s, between Chris Candido winning the NWA championship at this show, I wanted to run down for everybody between Chris Candido and when when Jerry Jarrett got the rights to the NWA title with Total Nonstop Action. While the NWA was running as essentially an indie fed, here were your champions. Chris Candido, this is November 19th, 1994, or 18th. Sounds good. After this, it is Dan Severn.
He held it for like 4 years.
Severn wore the title from February 24th, 1995 until March 14th, 1999, where he lost it in Japan to Nayo. I always have a trouble with this guy's name. Naoya Ogawa. His name's too much. The next champion, September 25th, 99, Gary Steele. I know nothing about him. Ogawa wins the title back in October of 99. Then, does anybody, some of our listeners might not, you guys might. The next champion was, anybody remember the Colorado Kid, Mike Rapata?
Yeah, he sucked.
No, I do not.
Yeah, he was actually one of those guys that if you looked at the magazines back in the late 90s, he was going to be one of those guys that went to the WWF or WCW and became a big thing. And
he was Burt Prentice's boy.
That didn't happen. Yeah.
He's Burt Prentice's boy.
Rapata won the title the 19th of September 2000. Sabu beat him on November 14th, 2000. Then he won the title. Yep, Sabu was the champion for a little over a month. Rapata beat him on December 22nd. And then Steve Corino won the title.
Yep, that I remember.
Hashimoto beat him, didn't he?
Yep, Hashimoto beat him. And then Dan Severn beat Hashimoto. And then the title was vacated when the NWA or TNA acquired the NWA license, and Severn did not go to TNA.
Severn didn't want to go to TNA, so TNA said, "Well, we're going to do the next best thing.
Ken Shamrock.
We're going to get Ken Shamrock, who held the title, I think, for one whole taping, because he won the title on the first show, and I think by episode 3 or 4, he lost it to Ron Killings."
Mm-hmm.
So.
And then there you go. There it is. And then we start with the TNA history of the NWA title, which had some good champions, Raven, AJ,
even
Christian.
Jarrett,
Christian at that time.
Even Jarrett was a respected when he first won it, not when he won it 18 more times every other week, but,
Well, see, Jeff Jarrett's run in TNA, I liken to Jerry Lawler in Memphis or the Von Erichs in Dallas.
Okay.
It was still a territorial mindset. And hear me out. Jeff Jarrett was thinking, I'm the guy that I know is still going to be here tomorrow.
And I agree with you. But, and yes, territorial wrestling, the Von Erichs were the best thing going in Texas. Right or wrong? The best thing.
Most of the time,
right? Until they brought in Lance Von Erich.
Well, I was gonna say they were usually the best thing going until you had Gino Hernandez or
the Freebirds right. With Lawler again, he was the Memphis's favorite son. They liked to boo him or love to cheer him, so he was the best thing going in Memphis. Jarrett had these guys under contract, big names. He brought in guys like Cole and Nash, Macho Man, which, I know he wasn't going to give the belt to Macho Man because he was only there for a couple of weeks. He brought in Jeff Hardy at one point, and, AJ Styles, Ron Killings, big names who never got the chance to have a title run in these other companies that they were a part of. Rhino came in, held the title for only, 2 weeks, and then they took it back from him and gave it back to Jarrett. Monty Brown, who was a great up-and-comer. And I look at it, and I'm not shitting on AEW in any way. AEW has only been around for 2 years, and they've only had 3 champions. So it's understandable that not everybody has gotten the title yet, which is for the better. But with TNA, you were hot-shotting the title so much. Why didn't you give somebody a try other than Jarrett for a couple of months?
Right.
So, and it was the NWA title. So I'm not saying Jarrett wasn't prestigious, but if you were going to play hot potato for the first year and a half that you were a company, then it shouldn't have been Jarrett 14 of those 20 times it changed hands. But that's a story for another day.
Before we end the show, of course, we have to plug things. And this week, I want to say, first of all, if you are a collector, action figures, etc.,
bodies,
heads.
This has gone morbid. Or did you just mean custom heads, Archie?
Custom
That's what
heads.
you meant, isn't it?
Custom
I
heads.
That's what I
meant
was-
dead bodies.
Well, no, you won't find any of those on World Championship Customs,
Oh,
but you will
Oh,
find
okay.
Mr. Archie Mitchell there. Join that group, World Championship Customs. Archie, I love that group.
I do too. It gives us all a chance to be very artistic or expressional. Just recently, I had a gentleman ask me to make him a New Jack custom, and when I got done with it, I even made a damn staple gun.
Now
I
you
didn't
have
wanna
to now you have to add a piece of gum.
Well, yeah, now that I know that, but I didn't want to get rid of it anymore. I was like, damn, I want to keep this, and that's my
Mhm.
problem. I make these things that people want to either buy or I'm giving away or whatever, and I look at them after I'm done with them like, damn, they came out too good. You know what I mean? But yeah, World Championship Customs, we're still growing. We're at 1,200 members. We got a gentleman who does custom made shoes. Guys who do comic book characters and Batman and Superman. It's amazing the amount of creativity you see these people put into their work.
Mm-hmm.
So
definitely, if you are a collector of anything, join World Championship Customs.
Yes, and the Asylum,
and the Nerd Closet.
Yes.
I was going to bring up the Virtual Asylum shows and the Asylum Wrestling podcast, which is a podcast version of those shows that I produce, and the virtual shows. And now that the COVID is over, or pretty much seemingly dying down, and we're getting back to, I'm so excited for live music and live wrestling again. I can't even stand it.
Yes, but I am too.
The Asylum is going on the road now. Also,
July in Tennessee.
Mm-hmm.
October in Baltimore, where I will be there, as will David Gold, Nick Francis, and a lot of the Asylum members. And September the 18th in Philadelphia.
At the 2300 Arena, right?
Yes. Heroes of Wrestling. And I'm excited because that's the day before my birthday, so I'm going to go all out while I'm there.
And so check that out. Join the Asylum. Get in the virtual signings. And by getting in the virtual signings, you get yourself on a podcast, because those signings become an audio podcast that you can also listen to. Of course, we've put it over a couple of times during this show, Reliving the Extreme, where Aaron, ECW's Chad Austin, and I are reliving the Extreme, ECW, week to week. And I can tell you, it is confirmed that sometime within the next few weeks, we will have, I believe, the first podcast appearance ever of ECW and East Coast star Tommy Cairo,
the Iron Man,
on Reliving the Extreme. So I'm really excited about that. Tommy and I, he's on vacation right now, but we're going to hook up this next week to make sure that he's got all the technical specifics down, and it's going to be great. That show is awesome. I do encourage that you watch that. Listen to it. Don't watch it. We're all sitting around in our pajama pants. But and also, last but not least, WrestleNet Radio.
Yes.
The numbers are actually much better than I thought they would be, and thank you to those that are listening. The numbers are better than I thought they would be just a month and a half in, and that is building as well. As a matter of fact, we always talk about our Facebook groups here. I have a Facebook page for WrestleNet Radio. I think coming up this week, we're going to start a Facebook group as well for WrestleNet Radio. So there's another group for you to be an admin
I better
in,
be
Archie.
an admin in there. Yeah. I'm one away from 1,000, so I need one more group.
But you can hear original shows on there, plus past episodes of Reliving the Extreme, the We Can't Wrestle podcast, and the Asylum Wrestling podcast, WrestleNet Radio 24/7, 365. It's in the Google Play Store, and the link is on any of our pages for you to open it in Safari on Apple, because I don't know. I don't know about Apple, whatever. But anyway, it is there. It is there for you to listen to 24/7, 365 days a year. Yes. WrestleNet Radio. And just to plant a little seed, I'm going long with the plugs here, but I want everybody to know that we were talking about live shows and live events, and very excited about live events. Next week, I will probably have news for all of you about the first ever wrestling convention live appearance for the We Can't Wrestle family.
Excited for that.
Yes, I will. I'm going to finalize everything this week, and hopefully have some news for you guys next week on that, where you will be able to come see us, our ugly mugs, at a wrestling convention.
I have a question.
Mm-hmm.
In my contract, it says that transportation will be provided. So to get to the live show,
the bicycle's on the way, dude.
Oh, the bicycle's on the way. Okay, good. I thought maybe a plane or a train, but a bike will work too.
Actually, Kyle is on his way to get you right now.
Oh, perfect.
He's on the bicycle.
He's on.
And Kyle's on the bicycle. Yes.
Right.
Well, that being said, guys, thank you for joining me this week and thank you for suffering through this. Your bonuses are on the way. Aaron gets a tube of Spree,
and Kyle's got my cheeseburger with him.
You gotta get paid to get a bonus.
Oh shit! All right. Anyway, you get paid.
If it's just the first time you got money, it's not a bonus.
You get paid in admiration from our listeners. Isn't that enough for you? For your ego? No.
No.
The Spree are on the way.
Kyle better not eat cheeseburger.
One of the shittiest candies. A Spree, like Sprees.
Hey,
is that what you're saying?
That's why I picked it. Yeah.
Since we're getting Spree,
what a boring candy.
Since we're getting Spree for Aaron, I want a 3-liter of Dr. Thunder.
Like it's a can.
That's so funny. Only generic pop has the 3-liter.
It's a candy. It's a candy coated church wafer. That's what Sprees are. It's fucking trash.
Oh, Archie, by the way.
Yes.
I'm sending Kyle with the car, but I need you to cover the gas.
No problem.
Oh,
no
God.
problem.
As always, it's fun. Thank you, guys, and thank you, listeners, for joining us here on the We Can't Wrestle podcast. And we will see you next time around. Hopefully, next time we're covering something a lot better than this. We'll see you around, everybody.
Anything.
Anything's better.